Mm-hmm.
Just know that we're live.
Oh no. All
But it's okay.
right.
It takes
It
a
does.
couple of
I know it
minutes.
takes a bit. All
Uh,
right.
what is that? Okay, hang on. I need to grab something real quick so everybody can see. I work in my shorts. Don't tell nobody.
I won't. I won't. Now I know. It'll never be the same. So should I switch my backdrop? Is it too bright?
Okay. All right. Let me just get my ears on. Okay. Here we go. I can see we're sharing the same climate. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm in, well, I thought I'm um in Florida, so I thought it was, it's right now it's only 4:15, so I thought we were going on at 5.
Oh no,
Uh,
It's 5:15.
is it? Okay, so I must be on a different time zone.
I have been doing this. Oh shoot! I did the same thing yesterday, so I totally get it. It's no biggie. Yeah, it's East Coast. It's 5:15. Central Time. It's 4:20.
Okay,
So
I'm in Destin, Florida right now. I just got here yesterday, so
so if you're in Destin, you might be in Central Time Zone because Destin's in the Panhandle, right?
oh,
Yeah, I don't know. I used to run that
wondering
area.
about that.
Yeah, I used to run. No, that's cool. No worries. No
All right.
worries at all. We got plenty of time. We put 2 hours in between shows, so we're good.
Oh, good. All right.
So yeah, I
Cool.
can't tell on all the platforms. Oh yeah, I can. Let me just make sure everybody's on. We still got another minute to go. Let's just see if we got
Yeah, I don't see
connected.
it.
Yeah,
So
there's.
I'm kind of on
I'll
here. Let's
tag you.
see. I watch you every day,
Oh,
so
cool. Thank you.
yeah, I do.
Let's
I
see.
tune in.
Let's see what happens here. Huh. Oh, it's wanting me to enter the studio. I don't want to enter the studio. I want to go. Oh well, it's not letting me do it. Anyway, we're good. We're on. We're on. Let me just. I'm just going to pull up the comment on my page on Facebook. Let me go ahead and
Oh, yeah, go
I'll
do what
just
you got to
tag
do.
you. I'll tag you real quick so you don't have to worry about. Okay, boom. Yeah, Lynn Marie. Boom. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So we got about 45 people in the house. So come. Our notifications
Oh,
are
cool.
being suppressed. A lot of people aren't getting notifications until halfway through the show. So just a quick announcement. Yeah, anybody that, if you don't mind, just sharing to one page. We don't normally do that, but we're under heavy suppression, and I just want to thank everybody. While we have a moment for your continued love and support and contributions that allow us to keep doing this every day, somehow by miracles, and it just keeps going on. Lynn Marie's in the house. I have a feeling she's been in this, in swimming in these waters for a long time. I don't. I'd love to get to know people just spontaneously on the show. I did go to your page to just to kind of check in, and I noticed something really interesting. What I thought was really interesting is that you worked in the aerospace or aeronautical field,
I did,
which
yes.
is kind of an interesting resume for light workers, starseed types of individuals. That must have been a. I mean, I would think there's got to be some type of rhyme to the reason with that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been into airplanes for since I've been little. My dad was a private pilot. He had his private pilot's license. So on Sundays, we'd just go flying. So it was kind of fun.
Oh wow.
So I got to, grow up that way and really love aerospace. And so I worked with an aerospace company and we manufactured aerospace, most of the critical air components that go on aircraft. So then I eventually rose up the ranks, and I eventually had Boeing was my contract. And so I managed a $25 million Boeing contract.
Wow.
So it was a pretty big deal. Did a
I'll
lot
say.
of work around the world with Boeing. And yeah, there's a lot I could say about that. A lot I can't say because I have an NDA.
Wow. Well, okay. So, like, did you have any type of reawakening or awakening while you were working there? Wow, that must.
No,
No, no, no, no.
no. It happened in 2012. I'm
Okay.
like a lot of it all just came crashing down on me in 2012. And then it was slow. It didn't really all happen at once, but it was a day. There was I, a certain day that just, it all came. And I would say it's like awakening almost, a reawakening of your soul, of your
Hmm.
spirit. Because when I was in that world, honestly, it was all 3D,
Really?
all 3D.
That's interesting. I wonder if, because of the compartmentalization of it all, if it kind of is structured, that way, where you can't really detect. Because obviously there would have to be, I would think there would be some higher level energies, floating around that you might pick up on intuitively or so on. We don't need to get into all that, but I'm just,
Well, actually, now that you say that, now that I've been reviewing it
mm,
as a new hat on, right? So I had my FAA hat on. I always had
mm,
an FAA hat on. So now I have a spirituality hat. And so
mm,
now that I have this new hat on, I'm looking back, and there were some weird things because I work with some really with NASA. And so now that I look back on it, and there's some things I can't even tell you, that they
absolutely.
were working with some technology that I think came out of, what happened in
Right.
Arizona. And I can't say a lot, but there was some technology, and even the engineers were the older engineers. Now that they were trying to wrap their head around it, more or less,
Mm,
right? And this was
like,
in the 80s and 90s, guys.
yeah.
So they were still trying to wrap their head around this technology, and they're using it today.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they're using a
Mm-hmm.
lot more than that.
Right?
Right. I did. We'll get off of that. I mean, but I was just intrigued by the, because everything is meaningful, and like you said, in retrospect, you start to see other things. But I'm kind of like at this point where I just know that at some point, someone or some group that has, let's say, a high level of credibility from the old paradigm. So let's say maybe it's a politician who comes out and says, "Hey, I've been on this side of it. I can tell you what's been going on. I'm a soul. I'm not afraid to die. I've had a change of heart." But I would think there would have to be, uh, you know, there would have to be a certain percentage, even a small minority of people that might think or be uh, presented with some of the things that we have, in terms of a wake up, reawakening, epiphanies, revelations, memories, and that type of thing.
Well, honestly, there's some engineers that I currently am talking to that they know what I'm into, because I'm into Qigong and Taoist philosophy and all that
Mm.
weirdo stuff. And they know that. And I've been friends with them, like 30 years, and they're all like really questioning things. And it's
Mm.
making them curious about spirituality in a different way, I
Wow.
have to say.
See, to me, I mean, like energetically speaking, like, because if you think about, and you would know this probably better than most of us, but if you think about, let's say, kind of like the basic characteristics of, let's say, a masculine energy or a masculine incarnation. I mean, it's an engineering black and white, straight lines kind of deal. So for that type of personality to be asking questions about what is the feminine wiggly line, flowy creativity, such and such. I mean, that's a pretty good sign.
I know. I'm just like so it warms my heart,
Mm,
honestly, that they're contacting me. Honestly, one just did today that you
wow.
talk about this, that um yeah, that they're wondering that this quagmire we're in, there's more to it than this 3D thing, you know?
Wow. God, it's going to be so amazing when, and I'm a big believer that the real disclosure is ourselves, and kind of like becoming aware and recognizing, acknowledging, and accessing and activating and actualizing through physical efforts our own skills and abilities and capabilities and so on. But so much of that stuff that's come out through whistleblowers and all that stuff is going to be interesting too. I think if nothing else, just to open people's eyes, as it has, to, oh wow, this has been going on, then what else is going on? Right?
Right. Oh, I know. I can't wait. You know, we're on the stepping
Mm,
stones right now of something cool, I think.
yeah. And so much of the kind of subtle code, in my opinion, comes from people's stories. And there's so many people waking up with such a greater frequency now, like what you're talking about with these friends of yours, uh, that it's becoming more and more of a thing. So I'm just curious, like a lot of us had a cosmic dump truck, a dump on us to kind of reawaken us. What was you don't have to get into like personal stuff, it's up to you, but like what was the magnitude of that? I mean, it sounds like from what you said that it was a pretty big deal.
It
Uh,
was. It
yeah.
was like a day. Well, so what led up to it though? Um, I have 6 children
Hmm.
and 6 daughters,
Wow.
and I was married and had a career and busy life, and then my husband got ALS, and it was a 15-month quick illness, and
Hmm.
he succumbed to it, of course. But so that kind of set me re-examining, of course, and so then I was on, that was 2010. And then for like 2 years, I was kind of stumbling around in grief and probably depression and who knows what. And around 2012, and I don't know what it was, I'm trying to remember the month even. It was in the winter. So early 2012. Um, I had, it felt like a shot of lightning, honestly. I went to the ER.
Yeah.
I went to the ER thinking something was wrong with me. Um, and nothing was wrong with me. And from then on, it's just been, whew. And then I met Sifu Boggy,
Hmm.
and yeah, he totally changed my life.
Yeah.
I
He's
totally learned Qigong and the Taoist principles, um, and that just did a 360 in it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
wow.
Yeah,
Now,
I've known him. I've known him for like 5 years now.
oh, cool. So that takes you back to
Yeah,
like 2016 or so.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so like, because I'm just curious, in general, but also I realize too that there's a lot of parallels because there's no linear. I mean, people are going through the same thing that you went through or that I went through, that others went through. It's just on the linear timeline, it's a little bit later, but there's also more energy supporting us now than before. So things are happening quicker. It's quantum. But like just in terms of, and there's no right or wrong, but just in terms of like, in the spirit of putting out, the experience, which is the truth and, the reality. Did you have any particular faces of the universe that kind of brought you into the party? Or was it
Oh,
through more so through your research and through picking up through your connection with Sufi uh,
uh,
and the Tao
mm-hmm.
philosophy and so on?
Well, so I wasn't into meditation or any, so I tried after my reawakening. Something led me into meditation, and I never thought I could meditate. Like most 3D people, they can't get in that, and so I didn't think I could at all. And but so I learned that while I was doing certain things, like driving my car, or washing the dishes, or um, just doing little mundane things. I was actually getting into meditation on my own, and I was getting downloads, and I'm just like trying to. So at that time, I didn't know it was a download, and I wasn't sure what was happening, but it was good. It was all good. So
Hmm.
whenever I found myself in these meditative states, whatever happened out of it was this good energy. And I'm like, oh, I want to do more of this now. And so it just kept evolving. And so as far as the aspect, I would have to say it's feminine. Um, when I see this blue woman, this beautiful, and then usually when like I do qigong, so several hours, sometimes several hours a day, but usually in the qigong meditation. So then she'll show her face, and then all of a sudden she'll turn into this beautiful like butterfly, and I know I'm in the like the state, you know, and then she'll just fly up and fly away, and it's and that didn't happen right away. I saw the blue face and you know, the energy of it, and I still don't know what that is.
Right.
But I love it. I'm like, I'll connect. Yeah, come on, right?
Well, I love that. I love the fact that you aren't hung up on, like, even what you said. Like, it's not just the meditative part. It's the outcome of it, which is, and like you're kind of like alluding and saying even that you don't have to know what it is.
No,
You
I
just
don't.
know that it is, which I think is a
Right?
real
I
gift
think that
because,
I
right?
do. I think a lot of people, um, they, and I just learned this a couple weeks ago, where it's the state of you just feel it. It's just you know
Right,
it,
right,
and you
right.
can't not. So the people that just don't, you got to feel it. If you don't feel it, it's I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean it's just like yesterday. I laid on the couch. I said on the previous show. I did two shows or three two shows, and I just felt like this influx happening, and I just went, I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna sit here. I don't need to know what this is. You know, you feel like certain feelings in your body or something's coming in, but like something was going on yesterday where I just was like, okay, I don't need to know. Like, and I've said that to myself before, but this was seemed to be different. I don't know. I think that's a real gift though, and maybe really good. Or it's good for people that might tune into this and not that are kind of new to this and kind of go, oh, I don't have to know everything,
No.
right?
And the thing is, you don't have to know, um, like if you're in a meditative state and you think, but that's not it. It's knowing that you're one, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm, I'm one with creation, and you just feel it. You just it's like an intuitive knowing, and the thing is though, when you're in the 3D world, and I hate to say that even, but um, you just don't. You think of spirituality in a different. Well, it's not something it's inside you. It's like something outside you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's all in you. It's
Yeah.
not outside you at all.
And there's so many fine lines here because nobody gave us an owner's manual. And said, okay, here's 3D, here's the owner manual to get to 5D
I
or whatever.
know.
But yeah, this whole thing about, I mean, there's a part of me that knows that me wanting to know, uh, me having to know, and this and that, there's a part of me that knows it's ego based and that maybe it's been necessary, from like, say threshold 1 to threshold 2 and so on, but it's not going to be there. And I think that's been a little bit difficult for people to kind of let go of that kind of have been swimming in these waters for a few years, but it feels like it's inevitable. It feels like it's a prerequisite to really being in that symphonic kind of symbiotic relationship with everything, all the elements and life itself. Yeah. But
Yeah.
you have a pretty cool, I think, a pretty cool palette to kind of draw from, because you were in aerospace, and we don't have to get into that, but the energy of it and the construction of it is very black and white. I would say even like very patriarchal, very organized, strategized. You plan things out, everything's on a deadline. And I'm just curious as to what, because a lot of people talk about within their own experience, they're under a different operating system now. And I'm just curious as to your situation. Do you operate a whole lot different than you did when you were in that arena? Or is it just a slight difference? Or has it been a challenge or anything?
Yeah, good question. Totally different, right? So when I was doing that, I weighed 200 pounds. I was
Wow.
on 20 pharmaceutical pills. Um, I had fibromyalgia really bad, to the point where I was close to being on disability. And it was, I was sick in the 3D world, and it wasn't good at all. And so in 2012, I was still weighing 200 pounds. And so since then, now I weigh 117, what I weighed in college. A lot of it is, a lot of it is energy. I know how to energy manipulate, I guess, and move energy, and you get stagnation within your body. I didn't know that. My body was full of stagnation, and I started moving the stagnation out. I started losing weight. I got off I was on 2 fentanyl patches,
Wow.
2 fentanyl patches every day for like 10 years. It
What
was
were,
not
now,
good.
what was that? What was the purpose of?
Fentanyl,
Yeah, but
for pain. I was
oh
in so much
wow.
pain. I couldn't even
Okay.
go to work. And
Yeah.
I typically work 12, 16 hours a day. So in order to work that many hours a day, and then that's when the doctors are, so besides the fentanyl, they gave me Oxycontin and hydrocodone and Xanax and who knows what else they would want to give you. Sure, go to
Wow.
work and we'll just write you a script for you to feel better while you're in total stress mode, you
Wow.
know.
That's an amazing testimony. I've heard of so many people over the years that either had let's just say a more conventional addiction path, like from society's standpoint, because it took a long time, I think, for people to see that the biggest drug dealer was the
Was my
pharmaceuticals,
doctor.
right? But so I mean, looking at you now, you've lost about half I mean, you're half of what you were, and you've also gotten off of all this medicinal stuff, which I think, kind of speaks for itself. I mean, there's a real transformation there. Was it something that you did kind of innately, getting off of it and getting into the movement of, like Qigong and all that stuff? Or was it something that you went, oh, I'm going to do this and this is what's going to happen?
No, so in 2012, like I said, I went to the ER. I felt like I had a heart attack. I thought I was having attack. My heart felt like it was ready to burst out of my chest. And it was whatever that happened that day. From then on, I mean, it was a trajectory of me losing the weight and getting better. And um, it was just it was hard. It wasn't easy. It was a daily, but it was still, I had this inner knowing that I don't want to be that person anymore.
Yeah.
I don't, for some, I'm so glad whatever happened in 2012 to me, that because I honestly, I'd be dead right now. I just went to my sister-in-law's funeral, who was just same as me. We
Wow.
both, we were knitters, and we'd go home and we'd watch TV and we'd knit and we'd eat our bowl of ice cream, every night. And she just died. She was my same age.
Mm.
I just went to her funeral.
Wow. Mm.
And that I cried because it would be me. If I wouldn't have changed what I don't know how this awakening should happen, but it happened in 2012, and something happened. And since then, I can't tell you what it was or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just
Cool.
glad.
Cool. So another thing that you mentioned, you had 6 kids. I've got 6 kids, and
Oh, do you? Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But a lot of people talk about, when they awaken and they change so drastically, and the relationship with their immediate and extended family and old friends becomes a totally different thing. And I think that's been a big challenge for people. I think there's enough information out there now that I think there's more confidence in uh, let's just say the consequences of the awakening. But did you go through some of the stuff that people went through in terms of being like, alienated from your family and judged, and having to like choose yourself and be strong and so on?
That so happened to me, Todd. In 2013, so a year later, um, my whole siblings turned against me. Um, they thought I was crazy, and that I should continue. I didn't wasn't continue with my doctor, and I wasn't going down that same path. And I quit my job. I quit my high power job, and I did a lot of quitting. I went on sabbatical in Seattle and on a mountain, and I started letting my hair go gray. I did a whole bunch of weirdo stuff. Um, and yeah, it totally, friends left. And the weird part is I'm with some friends now I've known since high school. We're renting a mansion here in Destin, Florida, and they're out on the beach right now. But so all these girls I went to high school with, I've known them for 50 years,
Wow.
and they all just didn't want to. They thought I was crazy too. I quit my job, and and they're all so they're probably listening now. But anyway, so they're all into money. Girls,
Right.
you are.
Right. Of course. I mean, yeah.
And so we all grew up. I went to an all girls Catholic high school, and um, so I had a really good upbringing that had money in it. And I pretty much in 2012 and 2013 gave it all up. I gave up an inheritance. My mother had just recently died, and I gave up all that. And my family thought I was crazy. And
Wow.
now we've all come full circle, and they're all coming back now and wondering, what are you doing? Where do you get this zest for life? What's going on with you? And now they're all coming back to me wondering, hmm, maybe you weren't crazy back then.
Yeah. Well, I think we're starting to hear some of that. I know I've heard some of that on the show, where people are talking about, this. God, who was it the other day was talking about it? I think it was a practitioner. Oh, I know who it was. It was Hone Edmonds. He's a Maori
Oh,
ethnicity,
cool. Yes, yeah.
and he every January and February he takes, I think, 2 or 3 different 2-week trips where he takes people into the forest with no cell phone, no nothing. But he was talking about how people were showing up that never even been camping before, and they're like asking questions like your friends, basically saying, "Hey, what's going on with all this? These people, these communities of these people that are talking about the things that we talk about." So that's a really good sign. I
Isn't
think so.
it? Oh, I love it. It is a great sign. And because people are, like they say, I hate to use that word, waking up, but
Yeah,
they are.
yeah, yeah,
And, the thing is, I used to, when I first did it, like maybe 5 years ago, I'm like, I got to tell everyone, this is so cool. Oh my God, I have to tell everyone. Well, why aren't you doing this? You stupid people. And
hmm
so then I was too much, right? And now I'm kind of that I only tell it to like the people who really want to know it.
yeah.
I'm not way out there, but I was really out there, like you
Hey,
said.
you know what? Don't feel like the Lone Ranger. I mean, this is also characteristic of a lot of people that come on over the years. 3,200 shows, and there's a lot of similarities, but one of them is, and I did it. Probably everybody here did it. You had the wake up experience, and you want to go tell everybody,
I know.
and then you see these posts, and they're like, no one's listening to me, and then you figure out, oh, I don't got to say anything, or maybe I say things when I'm moved to or something. But yeah, I think that's normal. That's absolutely, and I think
Yeah,
that's
I
great
think,
advice for people waking up now. I mean,
yeah, I think it just do you, right?
mhm.
And no one, so my thing was, I finally realized no one was coming to save me. I had to save myself.
Yeah.
And once that like veneer went away, I'm just like, wow. Well,
Mm.
plus I had a husband, and he did everything. I went to work. I mean, he cooked, cleaned. I mean, I worked 12 hours a day. So I came home and he was like the house husband, more or less. So
Mm.
I didn't have to do any of that. So it was a real change for me, being on my own and being self. Now I've been doing it, for a while, but that self understanding that no one's coming here, Lynn. It's you got to figure this out now.
Mm. Yeah. Are you feeling an air of collaboration as we get deeper into this? I mean, I know there's a lot of individual things that have to happen, both once somebody starts to wake up, as they're waking up. But does it feel to you like that there's, even like with your friends kind of asking you questions now, do you feel like there's more acceptance and more collaboration coming or here?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm in the process of building a website to teach
Mm.
Qigong, and they're just like waiting for me to get it ready so that they can start experiencing Qi. And once you know, your energetic body, and most of us, I think, in our community are aware of our energetic body. A lot of people really aren't. Um, that they have to, of course, we're all energetic bodies, but they don't get that, the deep of it, that we interact with our environment energetically. Our eyes do, our hearing does, all of our senses do, in just such a different way. And um, yeah, it's very enlightening to know that people are curious.
Mm. Mm. So you kind of developed a relationship with the Tao philosophy, and we haven't spent a lot of time talking about this, not because we just haven't had the opportunity. I mean, very often. I mean, he's been on. He used to come on quite a bit, in like 2019, 2018,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had others on. But in terms of like qigong or tai chi, like, when you were talking about earlier, like you weren't into meditation, I could relate, and then I started to realize there's a zen to mowing the lawn. There's a zen so it can be a meditation. But I look at Qigong and Tai Chi similar to that. I mean, I've done it a couple times here and there, but I've never done it like with a consistent discipline. But what's that like for you? What has that brought to you? Is it a space of a clear mind with no or little or no thoughts coming in? Is it a way to quiet the mind? What does it do for your body through the movement?
Mm. Well, so the little blue lady that you have behind you, I didn't even notice that. That's who I see. I believe that's Kuan Yin.
Oh,
She's behind you,
yeah, right
right
here,
over your shoulder.
right there.
Yes,
Yeah.
her. Oh, so what Qigong does is it's a lifestyle. So I first started doing it, it was a nice little exercise program on Zoom with a bunch of my friends. And I got to do some exercise. That's what I thought. But it's way more than that.
Mm.
You learn to be able to manipulate your chi, to be able to identify where there's stagnation within your body, and remove disease. All disease is just stagnant chi within your body. Cancer is caused just
Mm-hmm.
because you maybe are holding emotional, so emotional things, so what the Tao teaches about that is that you want to be free of all your emotions. So you want to be empty. You want to be an empty vessel. So everyone thinks, oh, I want my full cup. Well, honestly, you really just want to be always empty, ready for new experiences, ready to let the Tao is creation. to do it, help you do it for you. Because really, we all go forward and we push and manipulate and we try to change things, and really you don't have to. Manifestation is letting the Tao do it for you. And she just, I say she, puts things in front of you and you get to make that choice. But usually this choice that she puts in front of you, that there's a better one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that element of letting things happen versus trying to make things happen. And I think that's one of those kind of slippery slopes. I don't say slippery slope like it's a bad thing, but like it's like, where do you stop and where do you start? How do you let go? How do you surrender? You know, it's a very much like the opposite of the operating program that we had. You know, I
Totally.
mean, so it's, I mean, you were in the business world for many years. You know, we're in the same era. You know, I was in the corporate world, and we had these like 10-year plans and 5-year plans, and as time went on, I remember as we got into the late 90s and early 2000s, it became like a 1-year plan or maybe a 3-year plan.
Right.
But so you could already see the trend of the influence of what you're talking about on an individual level as well as the effect it has on the collective. But like in terms of like what you just described, for somebody who's a beginner, like, so if I'm understanding you, through this practice or those like it, you can begin to feel the flow of your chi. And I guess what you're saying is, and just elaborate, subtract, or add, but like through the relationship you have and awareness you have of your own energetic chi, for instance, you might be running it through your arm and you hit an area that kind of dams up a little bit, or you can feel the blockage or the constriction, and then you got to
You
work
get
on
right
it.
away, you get in this, position where, you just are, we call it wu chi, and you're just totally relaxed, and you you just get into this state of nothingness, and then all these wonderful things can happen, and then you also feel your body in a different way than you normally would. Like, oh, I bumped my arm, okay, I feel that. It's like a energetic um mass, and if you will, like, so I've had it where it's been in my arm or my leg, or like yesterday I was on the plane and I had to sit in the plane a lot, um, and so I felt it in my leg. But so a lot of people don't even, they just discount that and they try to walk it off or something. But I knew what it was, and I knew what to do to get rid of it. And so that's the difference with qigong, and knowing is, and knowing how to manipulate your chi. Um, Real easy to do, but
Does
it's hard if you don't know what to do.
Right, right. So there goes the yeah. It's not a push button program like so many
Well,
of
it
these
is,
magic.
honestly. We have buttons all over. Like, here's the button.
Mm,
This is one. We should, every day, everyone should just manipulate your C7 in a circle. Just go around 9 times one way, 9 times the other way, and you're moving. A lot of stagnation gets held in this area right here, and we
right.
get tense, and even patting it, you know, that helps to move some of that tension and stagnation that is in
Yeah.
your trap.
That's where you see a lot
Something
of
like that.
the yeah. Because I know I've noticed that with myself. I had some lower back issues, but I think I had the same kind of prominent constriction like you're talking about. You see a lot of people because you
Yeah,
see
they're
their
bending over, they're looking
yeah
at their phone, and they get a
yeah
hump right here. I
yeah
used to have a huge hump, like big ball right here,
mm,
and it's gone.
yeah
Um, yeah, but so, and a lot of times people don't know how to hold their chin. So really, you should just tuck your chin in if you want to be relaxed,
mm.
not extend your neck out. Just
Yeah,
kind of keep.
I've noticed over the especially over the last uh, well with the upper part with the where you said the C7 or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
like that part where the bump can come out.
Yeah.
I've noticed especially like in the last few months, like it scares me sometimes because I know because of the relationship with my body, like how the improvement has occurred in the lower back, and then It started happening with the upper neck a couple of years ago, and then I'll have like these cracks. Like it'll go,
Oh,
and I'll go,
that's
whoosh.
good. Actually, cracking is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Anytime you hear cracking or
Hmm.
popping, that's good. That's energy being released.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I've been feeling that a lot, and it's so striking at times it scares me. But I've always had this
So that means you
understanding.
have some stagnation there. That's telling
Yeah,
you. See,
yeah.
right now I'm not cracking or popping, but I have a bad neck. So
Hmm.
typically it does. So if it's cracking or popping, that does mean you got to work on something.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was picking up. Like I knew,
Yeah.
even though it scared me a little bit, that it was good. Now,
Yeah.
when you're doing like Qigong, or I guess Tai Chi, or any
Yeah, I do
kind,
both.
yeah. Oh, you do both. Cool.
Hmm.
Like where there's that kind of movement, do you have like experiences like you might have with a straight meditation, like a dimensional experience or a
Oh, you don't even want to go
visitation?
there, Todd.
Yeah, sure I
Todd,
do.
oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Oh, honey. So the last one, this is so cool.
Hmm.
I was just telling my friends this. So I got this download of what the pyramids are really about. This is just out of there. So what I was told by Kuan Yin, the little blue lady who's next to you
Hmm.
there, she told me that these pyramids are representations of us. So when we start out, we have all these blocks that we have on our, as we enlighten, we move up through our enlightenment and we lose those blocks. Those blocks go away and they're finally gone. And the tip of it is the gold enlightenment. That's what I was
Wow.
told the pyramid was.
Wow.
I have no idea if that's the case, but and it showed all the people in my, when I was in the meditation, it showed all the people bringing the blocks. So it took each person. So it kind of represented each of us in a different way where we're losing something. So it's like we're almost taking that person. If we say maybe we have 1,000 past lives, we're taking them all away as we go up and we finally get back to self.
Wow.
That's kind of what I got out of it. It was
Makes
cool.
sense. Well, I'm a big believer that whatever downloads we get, they're meant first and foremost for
Oh,
ourselves. So that's all that matters. I mean,
I
it
know.
must be cool though that you can talk to your friends about your latest download about the pyramids when a few years ago that
They
wasn't
would
the
have thought I
case.
was crazier than all batshit, man.
Isn't that wild? But that's just, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. I mean, that's got to be something that's occurring. And, I guess we're kind of seeing it, actually. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
with the
know.
things that are
It's
going
cool.
on.
Yeah.
How has given your journey, like, how has this whole experience, let's just say, of COVID for the last 2 years, how has that impacted you on an individual level? Or has it?
Not at all.
Well,
Not at all. Well, I couldn't travel like I normally do. This is the first traveling I've done. I actually, during when the pandemic hit, I was in Seattle um, in March of 29 or 2020, and that was the last time I traveled. And then now this, I've just flew down to Florida. But other than that, I mean, it didn't stop me. I mean, of course, I live in Minnesota, so we were shut down for a tiny bit. But other than that, I just went along my normal route and did my normal life. And
so, I mean, like from a spiritual or energetic level, was there any impact at all? Because, I mean, I get what you're saying. Because, like, for
yeah,
instance, the lockdown, like when everybody had to stay home, all the empaths were going, oh, we've been doing this for years.
I
It's
know,
not a big
right?
deal at all, right?
No. Um, so energetically, I think, for, no, I don't think, I think it's made people more aware of their body,
Hmm.
is what I think. And I'm kind of glad about that in my realm. Um, and I think that's one of the main things that is making people more aware, is that they are more in touch with their body because of COVID. And so then that mental health comes into it, and then the whole reawakening then starts, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
People have talked about in 2021, I know I did, and just through the work I'm doing primarily, but the voice of the body becoming, and it's what you're saying actually, becoming louder and louder and louder as the consciousness it is in the multidimensional consciousness of not just the whole oversoul family, but just even the human family, right? Like the body's really getting loud. Now, being that you were already in a pretty consistent and in terms of say 2012 forward, a long-term relationship with your body, did you have any noticeable expansion in your relationship with your body and communication with your body, or were you pretty much already in that kind of space and people were kind of catching up to you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think people were catching up to me. Yeah.
And how do you, I'm curious too, because you seem like you're very, I want to say like you have a neutrality frequency. How do you, one of the big challenges or opportunities for all of us has been the whole good and evil, right and wrong, they're us against them and all that. And I've seen, it's certainly been evolving in the right direction. Oneness is oneness and that kind of thing. But has that been a journey for you? Has that been a challenge for you? Or has it been something that you've been able to embody from the higher perspective that everything is all the same thing?
Well, no, because, we all have to live in this realm, but I try to live above it in a way, I guess, that in my day-to-day life, because I live alone too. So I'm like in this, because I do Qigong, and then so I'm in this quagmire and a lot. And so then I go out into the real world and I get some reality, or I tune into your show, or, other people, listen to other people in our community. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm learning still. I'm ready to grasp whatever new, how should I call it? And it's not an idea. It's not like, oh, this new marketing tip for Soulogy. No, it's not that, right? It's not that. It's like all of a sudden, it's like a knowing. It's like, oh, Todd had this person on, and wow, I learned, like, wow, I didn't know that. So that, I guess, is to me is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like we're on a scavenger hunt, right? Like a
Yeah.
soul
And you
scavenger
just
hunt.
don't know till you know it. And then when you know it, it's so fucking cool and you can't unknow it. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
No, I'm totally up for that. Don't worry about it. This is Soulogy. We drop F-bombs all the time. I've tried to slow mine down, but no, it's all totally accepted. And given your relationship with your body, and I would think that you would have, like I want to say a more substantial at this point, um, relationship and access to the intel that it offers. Do you feel like over the last few years, or even today, do you feel like your body is regenerating as a result of this relationship? And if so, could you expand on to what you think the possibilities are for any of us over the next couple of years in terms of physical transformation?
Aren't we in just a great place?
Hmm.
Right? I every day I see us all, honestly, I see everyone transforming. I don't know who's doing it. Someone's like pushing some buttons somewhere. Honestly, um, I see everyone, honestly, everyone I know. I can't say nobody, I don't know anybody who isn't going through some type of transformation right now in their life.
Wow.
And I believe that it's just going to expand. And it's people like us in your, and thank God for you and what you're doing, that you can tell people, and then the people that have questions about it can come and ask and learn more. But yeah, especially with the body. So I do intermittent fasting, which is, helped me to lose a lot of the weight, but that helps increase human growth hormone. and by 2000%. And it
Wow.
helps your body, regenerate new things. And I think everything that's happening is between us taking care of our body and the realm. The things all coming together are helping us evolve, if you will.
Hmm. So can you just kind of educate me a little bit on what is
Fasting.
fasting. What did I say? Fascinating.
Oh, I'm addicted to it. I'm trying not to be addicted
Well,
to it now.
I've heard
Uh,
people talk about everything from, like, I heard a guy the other day on a podcast, and he was saying, "Hey, this is how I conduct my day. I fast from wake up until, I don't know what he said, but it was late, like late afternoon, early evening."
yeah, I eat at 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that intermittent fasting, or would intermittent fasting be I'm going to go 3 days and
That's fasting. No, that's
that's fasting?
fasting.
That's
That's
okay.
fast. Intermittent fasting is during the day.
Okay.
During 20 intermittent fasting is 24 hours, and then fasting is days.
Okay.
So I typically do 16/8. And I try to have 2 days a week where I don't do it, but it's just such a regular, like today I ate at 11. Um, but the things it does to your body, what your does to your brain, um, it's amazing,
Yeah.
literally.
I saw this another podcast I was watching the other day, and this guy, he was, I believe, like coming off of, some addiction, street addictions, and he was telling the story about how he decided he was going to fast for 3 days.
Oh,
And I've heard this stuff before, but I was just struck by the fact that someone who had never done it, and who, even by his own admission, because he was transforming, but it had only been like a couple of years, so he was still deep in the medicinals and other things, other addictions, whatever. And he fasted for 3 days, and he was talking about the level that his senses heightened just
yes.
in the first time he ever fasted. And I
Well,
was like,
so
wow.
what started me? So when you do start intermittent fasting, you should do a 3-day fast start,
Okay.
and it jump starts your body. Your body then starts detoxing like right away. And it helps, like I said, jumpstart. And that was a good thing he did.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
impressive because it wasn't that type of
Yeah.
podcast. It was actually a comedy podcast. So, and what are your thoughts on, without getting into? I mean, I know there's a lot of people vegan, vegetarian. I've been on I'd say 75% of my diet's been organic, fruit and vegetable, juiced since July, and I did notice a serious purging, detoxing that was quite hellacious at times on my body for a while, but I can see why it's kind of leveled off. But what are your thoughts on that type of thing? Is it something that, because I even hear people say I'm on a juice fast. I mean, I don't know what that is, but like, what are your thoughts on that? Is it conceivable that, no right or wrong answer, but is it conceivable that you could just have juice and water all the time?
Well, so when I first started in this realm, so around 2014, I met some breatharians,
Okay.
and I also met some people that all they do is drink water. And this one lady I met, all she does is drink water. She's only drank water for 7 years.
Is that right?
They tested her. They didn't believe, because she's more breatharian than anything. But they tested her because they didn't believe, they thought she was lying. So they put her in a hospital for 2 weeks. This was in South Africa. And they tested her, and yeah, she didn't eat, and she's fine. She can live off just water and air. It's
I
pretty
wonder
amazing.
how. I wonder how much. I mean, this is probably a dumb question, but I wonder how much of any protocol is right here versus what I ingest or don't ingest. You know what I mean? Like, it just would make sense, like placebo effect. Like, this is what I believe, and yeah, right.
Totally.
And it's so strange because there's 8 billion people and there's 8 billion perspectives. And I feel like we're all going down to one perspective ultimately, just to put it in that type of term. But I guess there's a lot to be said for what um, you just know. You just know when you're supposed to eat
I
something
know.
or and
Well,
respect what
and so our ancestors, didn't eat like, since the Industrial Revolution, we've just been eating and eating and
Yeah,
eating. Before that, though, they just knew how to eat to maintain energy because that's all we need to do is that's what food really is to give us energy.
yeah,
And I think we've gotten away from that and just need to get back to it a little bit better.
yeah. Well, I've noticed too, like especially in the last, God, I don't know how far back to go, but I'm going to say just this year, there's been a 2 3 days where I just eat like a horse. Like, I mean, I just go, what is going on? But I realize that it's related to energy that's come or is coming. It feels
Right.
like
Well,
it.
so enter and it's in set, and so people don't get it that they think they got to eat one day. So your eating is actually in 72-hour increments. And so that's why, like 2 days, you're maybe be hungry, or one day you really eat a lot. Most of all our bodily functions go in 72-hour increments or
Okay.
72-day increments.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's a
very
block of
interesting.
3 days
It is.
versus.
It's a block of 3 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know like the other day, I mean, I had this day where I just couldn't stop eating and I couldn't understand where it was all going, right? And then like the next day, I had a bowl of soup that wasn't even very big. And then I got to the next day and I was like, wow, all I ate yesterday was a bowl of soup. I should be starving this morning, but I wasn't even hungry. It's weird.
Yeah. So we got to look at how we eat more in our three to make sure we get enough calories in 3 days,
Mm,
not one, I
mm,
think.
mm.
Hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So what are your,
Well,
so what, I mean, I know that plans are kind of becoming obsolete. You know what I mean? But like, I'm just curious when I talk to people, like, what are your plans? Like, what do you see yourself doing? Or do you even look that far out? Is it more of a
oh
present, kind of a present moment by moment existence now?
no, I'm actually, like I said, I'm building a website
Hmm.
and I want to teach Qigong and this Qi. It's my name of my website is Qi Energy. So I'm trying to teach people about their Qi.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
And like, if somebody was going to start that said, man, because a lot of times we underestimate. We underestimate our clairs and we say, oh, that
Oh,
person's
totally.
doing this and that person's doing that. But like if somebody walked in the door and said, look, I'm not ready for the Qigong, I'm not ready for the Tai Chi, I don't even know what Qi is. Can you just kind of tell me in layman's terms something I can relate to that isn't, let's say Far Eastern nomenclature that I'm unfamiliar with, but like, can you just kind of say to the average person, here's what Qi is, here's what your relationship with Qi can offer you, and anything you can elaborate on?
Well, sure. Qi is that inner knowing that you have within your body. It's that spark that you feel in your right here. This is called your lower dantian. So when you get that the butterflies here, that's energy, and
Mm,
that's your energy wanting to expand and grow, and it's alive within you. You just you have it. Everyone, but you have to. So it's like this. So either you're alive with chi or you're close to death. So close to death, you're laying on a bed and you're ready to die, and your chi is almost gone. Here on the other side is you have a zest for life, and you have tons of, because qigong gives you tons of energy. I didn't even realize how much energy. I mean, I never take naps anymore, but it's just an inner um, ability to use your breath and movement to move chi.
mm. And let me just ask you this: like, if somebody were going to, kind of adopt or add to their daily lifestyle Tai Chi or Qigong, how much time? I know that you're.
15 minutes.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah,
That's it. That's it. And you can, it's such improvement in your life. If you just tried 15 minutes a day for a week, you just like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened. Just for
Wow.
15 minutes. Because you think you got to go to gym and work out for an hour. And then the wrong thing that people do is they go to the gym, they work out for an hour once a week. That
Mm-hmm.
is really wrong for their body. You
Mm-hmm.
need to do it every single day, every day,
Yeah.
even a little bit every day. But whatever it is, do it every day.
Yeah. I saw this another podcast. That's what I do when I'm integrating. Just try to bounce, and I last like 6 minutes in each one of them. But there was a guy, and he said something really strange because you could tell he worked out, and he said there was a guy that would come to the gym every day, and he would come in and he would go to whatever weight set, and he would work out for 5 minutes, and he would get up and leave, and he would do that every day. and
Yay.
and so I didn't know where the guy was going with it, and he said, was he doing anything, muscularly or whatever, maybe so, maybe not. But he said, but the important thing was that he developed the routine of going in and getting it started. And the moral to the story was more than that, because I mean, eventually the guy became pumped, and he was working out for an hour every day or whatever the
Well,
case
yeah, because
was. But,
see what happens. You do the 15 minutes.
mm,
And see, I started doing 15 minutes. I do 2 hours now almost every day because I
mm.
love it, you know, and that's what
and
happens.
and so, like, and without getting too technical, but I mean, like, obviously, even looking at you, like, there's a muscular tone, I'm sure, that's come from these years and years of doing that. And I'm sure there's nervous system, and there's other things. What about the what do you call it, cardio? Is there any cardio or lung
Oh,
benefit?
totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
and that's through
There's
the
a
breathing.
position. So there's a position that I can make even football players. And this is a cardio move. It's called hug the tree. So basically, you're just standing here and you're just like this, have your arms open, and you're like you're hugging a tree, but you do it for 15 minutes or longer, and it just builds up this energy. And so, I mean, after 15 minutes, some heavy weightlifters can't keep their arms held up.
Really?
They're ready to just like, can we stop now? Yeah.
So there's no, like, stress. You're just putting
There's
your
no stress.
arms.
You
Yeah.
just try it. So try it for
Mhm.
5, 10 minutes. You're just holding like you're hugging a tree. Just hold it out there.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. There's a Buddhist monk, and that's all he did his entire career was that one exercise, and he developed
Wow.
that one exercise. Yeah.
Wow. And I guess there's a breathing rhythm that coordinates
Well,
with
you
it, or is.
could you could you could just normally breathe.
Hmm.
I mean, the big thing to do when you're breathing is always breathe in your nose. Always.
And what
And
about
breathe out.
exhales? What about exhales?
Well, it depends. The best way to exhale is through your nose,
Hmm.
in and out through the nose. But like if you're out exercising, of course you want to get
Mm.
some of that energy out, through your mouth. But for the most part, you should breathe through your nose all the time,
I met a
always.
guy years ago that used to be a pitcher for the New York Yankees way back in the day. He was quite a bit older than me, but he was about, God, he had to be probably like 72 when I met him. He was my height. He had a bigger build, and you could see. And he wasn't like like a bodybuilder, but you could see his strength. And he swore by isometrics.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, his forearms, his upper arms, even his hands. Like, he used isometrics for his fingers,
Yeah, I do.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
that was pretty
Real,
amazing to
real
me.
easy. And they're just simple things you can do to just help your body every day. Real
Mm,
easy.
mm.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's
Ah,
wonderful meeting you, and
yeah.
yeah, I
It was nice
just
to meet you too, finally.
I
I've been
really
watching your show for a long time.
oh, that's great. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's really good to meet you, and I really appreciate you sharing space with us today. And I hope you and know you
And
will
we didn't
have a.
even talk about my Kundalini rising with my husband at all. Damn it.
You had a
Shit.
Kundalini rising with your husband.
I know.
Yeah.
Shoot. That's what Morgan and I were wanting to.
Well, go
to
ahead.
express, but well, no, I don't have time now. I got to
Oh,
run.
okay. Well, we'll get together again in 2022 and talk
Yeah,
about the Kundalini rising.
sounds
That's
good.
pretty
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I know you guys will have a great time and enjoy
Thanks.
yourself. And I'll see you
All
later in
right.
2022. Okay.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks, Todd.
Okay. You take care.
All right.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye now.